Hey, happy Friday, everyone. Hope you are doing well. It's the end of the week again. It's a beautiful Friday morning here in San Diego. Had my coffee already, had my breakfast, and I'm getting ready for the day. And yeah, I hope everything is going well with you. Getting ready for the weekend. It's my granddaughter's birthday today, so I'm excited. Actually, it's her birthday tomorrow, I believe. Tomorrow. But it's her birthday weekend, and yeah, it's a beautiful day, a beautiful weekend. And this is In the Raw, unscripted, unpracticed, unedited conversation. We've been talking about intimacy and what that means, what the Bible says about intimacy. And we are basing this in 1 Corinthians 13, 12, and 13. I'll read it again. It says, "For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror." Talking about, we see ourselves. "Then we shall see face to face." So what we see now is a reflection of God in our lives, but then we will see him face to face. "Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love." And so we were saying that the only way to really get to know God and to know everything about him is through intimacy. And the only way or the climax of all this, I should say, will be when we reach perfection. Right now we just see a reflection. We're not fully seeing who God really is, and we will not see him in this lifetime, not until we reach perfection. And because we are not perfect, we are in the process of becoming perfect. But because we are not perfect, we need to strive towards that. And the way we do that is through intimacy, right? And we were saying that intimacy, the last time we were talking about this, we were saying intimacy with God is something that we need to work on, that we need to continue, doing. And when we are looking to God, towards God, and wanting to know more about him, that's where the intimacy comes in. And so intimacy with God is the most satisfying relationship we can experience. And as a result of this intimacy, according to the verse I just read, is a life strengthened with faith, hope, and above all, love. So three things: faith, hope, and love. And this is the reward for those who truly enjoy intimacy with God. The reward for the here and now, and not when we get to heaven. So it's something that we will experience here and now. So what does it mean to have a life strengthened by faith, hope, and love as a result of this intimacy with God? Well, let's look at each one of them. So faith, let's start with faith. Faith basically means trust in God. Trust in God. The quality and depth of our faith is tied to the quality and depth of our relationship with God. I'll repeat that. The quality and depth of our faith is tied to the quality and depth of our relationship with God. In other words, the better the relationship with God, the more faith, or the stronger our faith will be. So to have an authentic faith, we must have fellowship and commitment to God. We need to have that constant communication with God. We need to have that constant relationship with God, just like any relationship. If you want to strengthen a relationship with, let's say, your spouse or your children or a good friend, and the more you talk to each other, the more you spend time with each other, the stronger the trust, right? That's faith. Faith is trust in God, as I said. So, in other words, our intimacy with God is, if our intimacy with God is weak, then our faith is going to be weak. If it is strong, then our faith will be strong. So faith does not come unless we are diligently seeking God with all of our hearts. Now, faith collapses without a heart that turns to God. heart should always turn to God. If it fails without a heart that pursues his presence with never-ending passion. So we need to pursue his presence. On the other hand, without strong faith, our relationship with God will suffer because God cannot be pleased any other way without faith. Without faith and trust in God, there can be no true intimacy, fellowship, and a relationship with him. So what does all this mean? It means that it is impossible to have faith unless we believe what the scriptures tells us about God's nature. We please him when we diligently seek him, knowing that he will reward us with greater faith and greater intimacy. On one of the occasions, the disciples said to Jesus, "Increase our faith." And Jesus gives them an answer that doesn't seem to be an answer. Luke 17:5 or 17:6 says, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed," and the disciples are what? What are you talking about? What did he really tell them? What he is telling them is that the amount of faith doesn't matter as much as believing in the power of God. He chose something so small to teach that the most important thing is to believe that God can do the most impossible things. When you live in intimacy with God, you can believe that he is powerful to do anything because faith is the result of intimacy with God. You can trust him. You can depend on him that he will always come through for you. That's what intimacy with God does. Strengthens our faith. Next time we'll talk about the second part of these three things. We'll be talking about hope. All right. Well, I hope you have an amazing weekend, and we will talk to you soon.